this is our third interview with an LSBU alum volunteer for our Volunteer Week interviews. So just for a bit of context, LSBU alumni act as the lasting connection to the university. Our alumni are examples of what success looks like, overcoming barriers, creating opportunities, smashing any glass ceilings along the way. We believe it's what you do that matters. We are celebrating and asking some of our amazing alumni volunteers why it's important to them to give back and use their time in such an inspiring and rewarding way. Our volunteers are change makers. They're doers, they take action, and they get involved in projects that change communities. Volunteering at LSBU creates a community that thrives with change. I'm Jodie, Senior Marketing and Events Officer in the Alumni and Development Team.
Hi, I'm Sally, Senior Officer for Alumni Volunteering, and we're joined today by Douglas Elom. Welcome, Douglas.
Good morning, and thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. So, Douglas, first question, tell us a little bit about what you studied at LSBU and why you chose that particular course.
I studied computer systems and networking because, to be honest with you, I think it's probably in a DNA structure, because my father was an electronics engineer. And I had, at a point in time, I had to sort of choose my career path around about, my fourth job. And I thought, look, I've got to sit down and just ask myself the question, how do I intend to progress in life? And it came up, and I found this Microsoft book on how you can become what they call the MCSE at that time. And I read it through, and I thought, oh, this is quite good. So I got a computer out. I started working on that, and before I knew it, I was enjoying that discipline so much, and I thought, yeah, let me get myself a degree course, and LSBU was on top of my list.
Amazing. And you've had quite a long and valued relationship with LSBU, with our department in the Alumni Relations and Development, but beyond. And I just kind of wanted to ask, how did that volunteering journey start for you, in your own words? And why do you keep coming back to volunteer and give back to LSBU?
The start of the journey, what did I do? I left the university in 1999 with my master's degree. I got a distinction in that, which is quite, sort of surprising enough. And then I said, well, how can I connect and remain in touch with the university? And they talked about the alumni program. And I thought, look, let me embark on that journey. And that's how I started off. In fact, the first time I had to collect my identity card, it was quite extraordinary. I traveled in from Essex into LSBU, and I couldn't get in because I didn't have any ID. So I had to then call up the department and said, okay, I'm here now. And I think one of your producers sort of came down and let me in, but it was amazing. So I started with that, and then I just kept in touch with the university, did a few donations, nothing significant at that time, and then got a call from your department about some programs for the virtual days. And I thought, well, this is exciting stuff. I'm going to have to join that program. So that's how it started. I think we had the first session back in October last year, about the 3rd of October, and then got a call back from Chin about another session for the virtual open day in November. And I said yes to that without hesitation. And the last one we had was in February. Such an amazing journey to be able to give back, to up-and-coming graduates, should we say, on sort of all multiple levels. In fact, it's part of my sort of personality, because I created something called an IT graduate program in my last job in the Square Mile in the City of London. And what I did was, because when I changed my job from what I did into IT, I couldn't get a job. I had no experience. So I had to sort of drop my job at that time and start right at the bottom of the tree in IT and worked my way up. And I thought, look, we have to help candidates who have now graduated with an IT degree, should be able to sort of slot into a level, where they can earn, good money for all the work they've done back in university. So I started this program, and what I did was to link up with a company called Just IT around the corner from where I used to work. And I said, if you have any graduate trainees who have just finished your program and have a degree, send them across to my office. And what I'll do, I'll create a package where they can come on board, get inducted, onboarding. We'll discuss what we had, because I worked for a company that had a very nice infrastructure at that time, from hardware to internet connectivity, all the way through to servers and all that sort of infrastructure. So I got them in one at a time. They spent 8 weeks in the job. The first week was sitting down, getting on board, understanding what we did in the business, understand the IT infrastructure, networking, all the boring stuff. And then at the end of that, they sat on the help desk and took calls from the users in the office. And I tell you what, the feedback that we got from the company at that time is over 90% of those candidates after 8 weeks got a job, without having to go through, loops and bounds. So that was quite pleasing. Yeah.
That's amazing, Douglas. That's amazing. You do so much and you run your own company. Time is so precious, time is limited. I really want to know and get an understanding about your motivations as an individual, because it's so easy to acknowledge that there are gaps of opportunity and you recognize your journey and how difficult it was for you, but you can just continue your journey and just become successful and not look behind you, not look to put the ladder down. What is your motivation for doing what you do? Like, why? You don't have to care, but you do. So I'd love to know why. Where does that come from?
Well, if you asked me why did I raise £1,000 for the NHS back in June last year, I don't know. I watched Captain Tom Cook with his 100 lap, 100 steps, should I say. And I got the inspiration that I've got to get something done. I just felt naturally inclined to help the NHS. So I set out to cycle, never cycled before. I cycled 500 kilometers in 25 days and raised over £1,000 across Facebook and Just Giving. And now I ask myself, why did I do it? It's just a natural thing. You when you feel good about something, but I think I feel responsible to want to help those who don't have a voice, those who are unable to do what we do on a daily basis. Hence why I'm also a trustee in an orphanage for a charity. We run a charity that looks after orphans in Africa. We've done a lot of work now. If you ask me why I do it, I couldn't give you a specific answer. All I can say is it feels good for my self-esteem as a person. Naturally speaking, I like to help other people who need to have help, and that's where it all stems from, I think. But I think my parents are quite influential. My mom was a nurse, so that's sort of part of the, I suppose, the trajectory, knowing a mom who looks after others as a nurse. And my father's an engineer. And my father, crazy. He would get a neighbor knock on the door. Oh, my TV's broken. How do I fix it? I'll bring it over. He gets it sorted out. And they come back the week after. They used to call us Papa Douglas. That's what we used to be known as, Papa Douglas, Mama Douglas. Papa Douglas, what should I be paying you for? Oh, just take the TV and go. And that was it. That was it. And he would call all the children on the road back at home and say, guys, come over and watch, a video. He had so many videos at the time, and the kids will sit down with a projector, sort of streaming a movie, and the kids out there laughing. And it must be that's the channel where I got this from, I suspect. Yeah.
That broad answer just shows that you're an advocate for volunteering in many different ways, in many aspects of your life, and it's just a joy to hear you and your passion for giving back and from your past to go, well, my upbringing has taught me to want to give back. I'd be really, really keen, because you've done so much for LSBU and LSBU students in a voluntary capacity. I wanted just to ask, is there a particular moment where you've seen real impact through volunteering at LSBU? And can you reference that and tell us about that? Or if there's not a particular moment, how seeing lasting impact for your volunteering at LSBU makes you feel?
Yeah, we had a candidate a mature candidate on one of the open days, and he had a question. The question was sort of unsure of himself at that time. And the answer was provided and said, LSBU has a nice facet of, age groups. Maturity is not a problem. And when he answered back, he had to put an emoticon on the screen, and that just gave a satisfaction, an end game to, being unsure about how you, and that moment stuck with me, that the open days have done, great work. And we can put people at ease with answering, simple questions with simple answers. Yeah.
Definitely. And you also took part in the alumni takeover campaign last year during the pandemic. I think Jodie and the team reached out to you, and you very kindly recorded a video message of hope and resilience around your story. What motivated you there? Like, what made you answer that call, and how did it make you feel to take part?
Well, again, back to where we started from. There are people out there who don't have a voice. They have no understanding of how they can get things done. And sometimes, if you know you have the ability to help others, the motivation comes from seeing other people progress. Surpass what you do. Look at you as an inspiration. Look at you as a mentor. And I think that those areas were quite keen for me to sort of, add value to the resilient. And we know that with COVID-19 last year, a lot of people have suffered in terms of mental mental health, financially, emotionally. And the least we could do is, if we have the capacity at that time in that pandemic period, to help others by spreading the word on how they can get themselves through the hard times, whether it's through university, through college, through being at home, then yes, and motivation was there to pass that message on. You can be resilient, but if you need help, knock on the door. People are out to help you. And we saw that last year. The amount of help and aid that came through in the UK was just unprecedented. So yes, that's the motivation is about getting others. It's about resilience. Is when you fall, how do you and how far do you get back up? That's how I look at it. So if we can assist people in achieving that sort of mental thought, I think it's fantastic.
So we consider change makers someone who proactively involves themselves to make change happen. And I think you are that, bar none. How important is it to you personally to lead by example?
Well, I've got another project I'm working on, right? It's called the Good Things Foundation. They are a foundation, and their objective is to ensure one specific area, that digital technology doesn't leave anybody behind. So I'm part of the network, and what I'm doing now is I'm rolling out Lenovo M10 tablets to anyone who's 18 plus and has a learning disability. So the idea about that is we want to make change to make sure that the digital gap created by COVID doesn't affect a lot of people. So if you imagine, I don't know if it happens to the both of you, Sally and Jodie, but I know that now for me to see my GP, I have to make an appointment online. I can't just pick up the phone anymore. So the COVID era, with anybody who has a disability, who at that time could, go and socialize in a club with their peers, all that stopped. And to get to see a GP would mean they had to depend on somebody else to make that call for them. So now with the tablets, they can go online and just type in the URL and make an appointment. They can do online shopping. So we're trying to make that change and get that gap to be significantly reduced, to make sure that anyone who has a disability and 18 plus is able to digitally connect with the world, friends and family, peers and groups, etc., etc., etc. So that change is an important one.
Yeah, amazing. You're just doing so much. I don't know, do you have extra? I mean, I've got 24 hours in my day. I'm obviously, I don't know if you've got the secret to time, because you're just doing so much. This is amazing to just hear you talk about everything that you're doing. I just want to pick up on something you said in the beginning about donating to LSBU. You said, very modestly, not large sums, you just kind of gave a little bit. Which I was interested to hear, and I'd love to know more about your motivations in terms of donating, because in terms of what we do as an alumni organization, we provide opportunities for alumni to give back their time, because time is just as valuable as money, but some people have more time than they do money, and we recognize that. That's why we provide certain opportunities. So we don't get a lot of donations, our donations are quite small. So it's interesting to hear from an alum who's like, I gave a little bit of money. What is your thinking behind that, and why was you kind of moved to give money?
It's a good question. I think that any business, any charity, any university, any infrastructure has to have funding one way or the other. And I know that with the fees being increased over the last 15 years from getting yourself a free education up until 9,000 per annum is a lot of money. And if whatever you give is able to provide an extra, extra cost director, an extra subject, an extra equipment for the students to use, then it all helps. And that's how I looked at it, before I decided to give something. And because we receive as well as a charity, so part of our strategy is if we don't receive, we can't sustain ourselves. So we go out knocking on doors, we fundraise. So I understand the concept of you have to have money coming in to get money to go out, which is why I did it.
Definitely. And what you've contributed to are hardship funds and our prizes of recognition for students, the students in real need that need, hardship funds of different kind of initiatives. That's something that you've contributed to. So thank you for doing that. You spoke briefly about inspiration, and quite clearly you are a role model and an inspiring alumni for our students. I wanted to ask you, we've been asking a few, what inspires you? Who inspires you? Who are or were your role models, if you don't mind sharing that with us?
Not at all, no. I mean, there's so many now in my journey, so many, because times change and people change. But I'll start with my mum and dad. They instilled in me what I have today, because I think that the period between 0 and 12, the formative years are so important for any child. So I think that I've benefited from that in terms of how my mum and dad, they're quite liberal, at the same time very strict. Have you done your homework? Oh, not yet. Get down and get it done. It wasn't about the work being done. It's about the cycle of understanding how to tie down your time to a certain period, to certain things, you see. So that's worked very well for me. Moving on from there, I love music so much, and the likes of Stevie Wonder, with his blindness and the way he's escalated into, the stratosphere with his talent is just unreal. So I do sing, and because of that, I look at music and artists as inspiration. So he's one of my real inspirational sort of figures that I find. And of course, my family. I'm remarried now, and my second wife has taken on a role that's just it's just incredible how someone can come in and lead by examples, patience, understanding, and my kids have really pushed me up to a different level. Seriously. It's funny how when you have children, sometimes you think, financial cost, emotional cost, I'm not going to be able to sleep. But the thing is, all those things, they put you they put you outside your comfort zone. And before you know it, you're doing things that you couldn't imagine doing without before the kids sort of arrived. And if you get the balance right, they will push you and they will make you excel. And I think that's, for me personally, as a person, I have excelled in myself, and the energy I have and the things that I do, I think, come from that environment of having to look after my they're all adults now, my four kids. So yeah.
Amazing. Why am I not surprised that you're a singer? I'm really not surprised that you said that. I'm like, yeah, that kind of makes sense. That's it.
Well, you'd like to hear? I can do a quick song if you want. I don't mind.
Oh my gosh, I'm not going to say no.
What about Benny King? When the night has come and the land is dark and the moon is the only light you see. So darling, stand by me. Whoa, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Stand by me.
And you can sing. My goodness. That's amazing.
Thank you.
Oh, you are just a 10 from me.
Yeah, that was amazing. That was a great way to start my morning. So thank you for that.
Thank you so much.
I had one more question, if I may, because you've been quite modest. So you've done quite a lot with us. You've done campaigns, you've done open days, you've featured an alumni profile. We have guest speaking opportunities in front of students as well. There's bespoke opportunities to volunteer based on your own interests. And we're looking at the volunteer engagement ladder, and you've kind of done the beginning of the ladder. What else would you like to do? If there was a kind of a wish list, how else would you like to volunteer in a way that meets your own passions and interests with LSBU?
Well, I'd like to engage in any sort of change that you're going through. And there is I saw an opportunity called LEAP management to do with making changes within the university. So I'm looking to actually engage myself on that. So I'll keep you posted on that if it makes it easier. But yeah, to do with change, I'll be very happy to get on board. So any project you've got for change at the moment, just let me know and I'll be happy to participate.
And speaking to students about your story and your journey, would that interest you?
Absolutely, yes. That's that's my one of my core areas. I'd love to do that. So if you have any dates in mind, then please, just contact me. I'll be delighted to be there.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, we're going to bring this interview to a close, but Sally has a thank you that she would like to share with you.
Oh, I'm scared now. What's going on?
Something I prepared earlier. No, this is from feedback from the alumni team. Douglas is a valued alumni volunteer in our community with boundless energy to make a difference and give back. Being around him is always wonderful because of his generous spirit and infectious enthusiasm. From speaking to students, open day volunteering, featuring as alumni of the month, and rising to the call to send a special video during the pandemic to students as part of the alumni takeover, we thank you and recognise you as a true role model for students at LSBU.
I would like to thank you. What such powerful words. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Douglas.
Giving is free, giving is free. And if you want my company, CompuDog Services Limited, do any work for you, then please call me. I'll be happy to throw something on the house. Absolutely. Let's get those graduates and undergraduates and the potential candidates. Let's get them on board. Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Douglas.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Douglas. Thank you for joining us today. We appreciate your time and allowing us to recognize you. You're amazing. You're truly a change maker. And I can't wait for us to provide other opportunities for you to volunteer at LSBU. Thank you so much.
Look forward to it. Thank you. Thanks for having me. Thank you.